Hello, Fruit Horse. This is Captain Fruit reporting for duty, and today I'm doing another episode of Road Rage, which is actually in this case a walking rage. It's a bit cold out, but I need to get a good walk in. Thanksgiving time. This season tends to make it easy to pack on the pounds, because man, my family can cook, so I gotta make sure I get that extra exercise in. And I apologize for the volume of videos being down significantly lately. If you're not in the know, I'm dealing with a lot of family issues right now, with taking care of a family member with mental illness, and it's just pretty much everything that can go wrong does. And so it's making a lot more hoops to jump through. So it's making life really, really busy. Well, anyway, I want to talk about Superman, based on the Forbes article. Between that and WB, Warner Brothers, they just don't seem to know what to do with Superman. They, find his relevance today, and I scratch my head with that and think of how dumb can you be? Why don't you, look at what we have with Superman? First of all, how can Superman not be relevant today, based on how the character came to be? He, for one, is an illegal immigrant. And these leftists love hammering that angle, but they can't use that. Granted, I don't think that's the best angle to go with, because it's a little polarizing, and especially unless they did it right. You can do that and play it down the center and do it right. That's what we need. What I think their true problem is they're afraid to use Superman as the character is. They want to bend him to a particular narrative. Because how can you not have any material for Superman? You have decades of comic books. You don't have to worry about villains. You could always deal with that. And one of the problems they say with the villains, well, his villains are a little campy, cartoony, that kind of way. But you got to think about this. You could still use it. And Superman doesn't have to be a dark film. He's got a lot of characters and villains you can use. Holy cow. Brainiac. And I wouldn't use Mr. Who can say that guy's name, right? So you've got Brainiac, Metallo. We don't have to just use Lex Luthor. We have Darkseid. We have all kinds of other villains and things from the DC universe that you can use. Just don't make it like something like a cloud or a tornado like Superman Returns the Game. Oh gosh, no. Don't make it some kind of element like that from from a force of nature. Don't play that route. That's never a good villain. Just look at Green Lantern or the first Hulk movie. You don't make a villain something that you can't identify with, see, be some kind of person. But not Batman, but Superman has a wealth of villains from decades and decades. You could even put him on Warworld, for crying out loud, right? And him fight Mongol. There's so much that you can do with him. Or how about this? Magic. Have him fight somebody with magic, because we know Superman's extra vulnerable to magic. So there's so many villains that we could do, and they could build on that and use that. We don't just have to always go to Lex Luthor. So we have tons of villains. Okay. On top of that, we have a character that's relevant based on today's political agenda, but once again, warned to play that straight. And how about this? Have they ever thought, why not use Superman like he was? A beacon of hope, showing what's best, what the right thing to do. Why can't we play him straight like from the comics? How is that not good? At a time where there's so much gray and it seems like moral relativism running rampant, why can't we have a hero that actually stands for doing, are you ready for this? The right thing, the moral thing. And if people go, well, we can't relate to him. We can't relate to Superman because he's so powerful. Baloney. If anything, he's struggling to relate to us. Because what happened? He's the last of his kind. Well, sort of, until, writers, Bendis, and things like that screw all that up. But he is a man on his own, if you will. And he grew up in Kansas with human parents, learning how to be, he didn't know any better, actually, when he was growing up. And he had human parents, down-to-earth, farmer human parents. So he has that moral rock, that beginning to make us gravitate towards him. How do you not gravitate towards that, especially if you're in America? It makes no sense. How can you not write for Superman? For a movie, we have literally thousands of comic books and material to go off of. A character that can be used as a beacon of light throughout all the darkness. Which, people complain that maybe, the DC universe is maybe too dark. Well, use Superman as the light. You can have a lot of dark elements around him, but Superman brings light, just like he does in the Justice League, right? He's sort of like their moral compass. He brings everything up a level. Why not have a hero like that? What's so wrong and hard to do about that? That's how you do it. You put Superman in positions that challenge him to make it really hard for him to do the right thing based on the negatives that will come, maybe to the people that he knows, protecting his loved ones and things like that. You put him in challenging positions. But Superman does have to come out on top and do the right thing no matter what. Otherwise, you ruin the character, which is part of the reason the other movies just didn't work recently. And with Superman Returns, they made Superman a deadbeat dad. Nobody wanted that. That was terrible. The writing just was not good for that at all. And the ending villain, he didn't really, come on. With the whole Luthor ordeal and, that was just terrible. There was no real good ending villain. And then the next Superman, the Man of Steel, once again, I don't blame either of these actors. I think both the actors in these movies did a great job, by the way. It's just the material they had to work with. Man of Steel finding Zod, which not, by the way, let's not do another General Zod movie, okay? We've seen Zod several times in Superman movies. Let's move on. Let's give it to somebody else, Brainiac or whatever. Okay, so anyway, he kills General Zod, breaks his neck. That off-put a lot of people too, because that's not what Superman would do. Yes, he showed anguish and everything from that, and all that, and they wanted to have that power punch, sure, but that was not the way to do it. That's not Superman. They missed the mark, and they wonder why people aren't rushing to see Superman movies. When people think Superman, what do they think? What do they think? And that's my question for you today. When you see Superman or hear Superman, one of the most recognized superheroes on the planet, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, those are people that you could see just not even a quarter of them and know who they are. You can know by the positions that some of them have, like Spider-Man, this wall crawling, or that particular position he does when he's on the ground. Everybody knows that stance and they think Spider-Man. Well, Superman's got that too with his hands on his hips, right? And the cape blowing in the air. We just know it. They're so iconic. You can't miss them, like Mickey Mouse or even Mario today, right? Mario is super well noticed too. How can you take a character that everybody knows and then write them so differently? And you wonder why people are off-put by this. We need to get Superman back on track, being the light of the DC universe. And I think that they can find there is so much material to grab from that, to grasp from that. If you can't, you need new writers. Let's be honest. If they can't, the writers need to go and they need to get somebody else, because this should be an easy slam dunk. And by the way, do not let Bendis write that movie. No Bendis Superman movies, please. Good Lord, he's done enough damage to Superman already in the comic books. Well, anyway, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? What do we need to do with the Superman movie? And as I asked another question earlier, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Just let me know. It's always fun to me. So what is your thoughts? Do you want another Superman movie? I know I do, but I want a Superman movie done right. And currently, I don't know if DC, Warner Brothers have the, do they have the direction to do it and the people to do it? I don't think so. I think they need to clean house and get a new direction. Just, for example, look at the old Superman movies with Christopher Reeves. He was heroic as heck. Absolutely. Heck, even go to Lois and Clark. You didn't see a whole lot of Superman. He was more of the Clark Kent side of things, which was still awesome. But he was still Superman. Great down to the core. All right. Well, I babbled on a lot. If you hope you enjoyed this video, if you did, like, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, help out. Leave those comments. It helps out a lot. And if you find yourself inclined to do it, also go down there and we have Patreon, Streamlabs, and Subscribestar that you can help the channel out with too, and we greatly appreciate it. Also, we have something big hopefully coming up. I'm going to announce it pretty soon. Hopefully a charity thing if everything works out. I'm trying to fit everything in my schedule. It's been crazy lately, but thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep it real.